pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is this to you? I don't know if this is to you or to Jen.
Oh, thank you. There you go. Laura, and then Laura.
Okay.
Oh, I printed these and I forgot to grab them.
Is that always the case?
All the time.
Because I have to sign.
Oh, guess I'll just pull them up.
Okay, shall we look at accepting the, I'm not organized here, the minutes from last meeting?
Yeah, read through them online and not print them out though.
Any discussion about the meetings?
Oh,
The meetings.
There were some of the ones
There were
from the minutes.
several.
Yes, there were several.
Yeah.
You wanted the October and September ones?
There's
Both as well?
there's the December 5th special meeting that I corrected. It was, originally, oh, sorry. There, the December 5th special meeting was correct, I corrected it, so because I had put, it was non-public, so it is corrected and it's now public. For December 5th, if anybody wants to see it. Then there was the November 11th budget meeting. Again, there was a non-public short session at the beginning of the meeting. That was corrected so that it was now public. So November 11th budget meeting, December 5th special meeting, and then the December 18th regular business meeting for last month. So those are the three that need to be corrected.
And the budgets were all combined into one.
The budgets were all
Oh,
combined into one, so
right.
November 11th is right
And there
there.
was the one that I wasn't at, right?
That was the first,
The
no,
first one.
second
Yeah,
one.
the December 5th.
So I have to
Yeah.
abstain on that one?
Yeah, that was three. It was a three-person meeting.
So the dates were 12/5.
I was not there.
You and I have to
Yeah.
abstain.
What were the dates?
12/5/2018, November 11th budget meeting. The 12/5 was a special meeting, the November 11th was a budget meeting, and the December 18th was the regular business minutes.
Okay. Do you want to pass any of those?
If anybody wants to see any of them, there they are.
Well, the 12/18. So this was, we all agreed upon that.
And then, oh yeah,
And this is only different in that,
in the November 11th, it just now has a it began with non-public
okay.
and then went to public.
Do you want to take each one, or do you
Well,
want
that one,
questions
you
on
and I
each
have to
one?
abstain, so
Right, okay.
that one has to be
Did you
done
pass
on
that
its
down?
own.
I had a question on not that, so I don't know if you.
On the
one?
November 11th one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want me to
Yes, please.
say that now? And I'm not sure.
This is October oh wait,
Okay.
is this all
So,
of
no, yeah, just look at,
This is
My
all three of
question
them.
was a question of numbers. There were numbers at the end of it of what the budget is
right.
going to be,
It's what we agreed on for the total.
which is in budget with an increase. Am I misunderstanding?
That's correct.
Okay. So.
We agreed on and ask, I think it was it
26.
26, something like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So we agreed to do that and we voted on that.
so my question was that in fact is not a flat budget, correct?
No.
Because we're asking
That's
for more?
correct.
Okay, that was I just wanted to make sure I understood that. That really wasn't so much about the notes, but I wanted to understand that.
Can I just, Paul had emailed all the town department heads, and the municipal side of the budget with all the departments together is a flat budget.
Okay. That's probably
Oh,
where
that's
I'm
good.
also getting confused. Okay, thanks, that's great.
Thank you. Any other discussion about any of the minutes?
I'm sorry, I just have a correction.
Oh,
Yeah.
please, yes.
December 5th,
Okay, that's there.
Not on this
No,
one.
this one.
I got 27, 7,
Yes.
11.
you have the meeting was called to order at 10:03 a.m., and then you guys
Yeah,
talked
that's
for
the one I
12
was
hours,
asking questions
We are
and it
good.
was closed at 10 p.m.
Different dates included in that.
Okay. I think maybe it just made perfect sense to me at the time. I can correct that. It's
These
just
numbers.
the time.
Yeah, it's just p.m.
I will correct it.
That was a good pickup.
It was a good pickup because
Going to
it may have
We can talk, but that
12
would be a long
hours
time.
was, mm-hmm.
So what are you correcting it to?
I'll look up what the times were. I have them in my computer and I'll make it correct.
And that's the November 5th?
Oh, that one's correct. That's 2:00.
I thought that was the one the time.
Oh, November 5th, that's the one I'm doing. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So do I hear a motion to accept the meeting minutes for 11:05 with the edit of the time? No?
Not 11/5?
December 5.
November 5. No, I'm sorry.
December.
December 5, I'm sorry. I'm getting them mixed up
Okay, so December 5th with time corrections.
with time corrections.
Okay.
It's gotta be one of the three of you, because we have to abstain.
yeah, we
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I'll,
Okay.
yeah,
You can-
so,
I'll pass? Oh, I'll pass.
you'll second, eh?
Yay.
Okay,
302 then.
I'm sorry?
We are abstaining. so
yeah,
it's
302,
Abstaining, yes.
yes.
Okay,
Okay.
now the next one is November 11, is that correct?
Correct, that's somebody's.
There.
Look at it. Yes, November
Are
11th,
there any comments about November 11th?
just,
Maybe this is, I'm not understanding this. When you say who's present, do you list everyone, including anybody who's not a board member or the director?
no,
Okay.
I mentioned that Paul was there. If you look right afterwards, then he attended the meeting. He actually wasn't in the room. We asked him to stay outside.
Okay. I was
While
just
we
trying to
did the
remember.
non-public
Okay.
section.
All right. Thank you. That was the only questions I had.
Anything else? Do I hear a motion about the minutes? To accept the minutes from
November 11th.
November
11/11.
11th?
Okay,
I second.
so did you, it was,
I'm sorry?
did you, okay, I will.
She seconded already.
No, I
She
did.
just seconded.
Oh, did you move?
No,
I
Rick
moved.
moved.
Rick did.
She seconded.
Didn't hear it.
You're confusing me, Karen.
Long nights.
Well, well, no, it's not, because I don't have to do any more than this, and then I'll be quiet. Rick, Laura, okay.
All in favor? Okay, now we're done with that one. And then we just have 12:18, right?
Yes, 12/18.
12:18, which is last month's minutes.
It's all combined
That's not,
into
yeah,
one.
that's not in this printout.
No.
Yeah, I read them online, so.
Any other comments about, any comments about the December 18th, I'm sorry, December 18th meeting?
I have now have another question about that, but
About what, Janice?
about that packet, the November 11th.
Yeah?
It's, you call it November 11th because all those dates are combined into it.
There was a meeting on the 27th that was started at about 1 PM. That was October 27th. There was a meeting on November, another budget meeting that was called for the budget, that started at 7 in the evening. Then November 11th was at 2 PM is when it was called to order. And
Those are all different minutes, so.
there's three different
She
sets
just
of
stapled them
minutes.
all together.
Because they all had to do with the budget.
So that means we can approve that as a packet.
No,
as opposed to
we're
each
approving
date?
them separately.
Okay.
Didn't we approve the other two already, though?
Okay, that's, I knew there was
That's what I
something
thought.
I was missing in there. Got it.
Yep.
Yep, yep, yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now, where were we on December?
December 18th.
Nobody made a motion yet.
18th.
Yeah, nobody said anything
So-
good about the 18th.
Any comments about December 18th minutes from anybody? No?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor? All right. Okay, excuse me, committee updates, Friends?
Friends are meeting, when is it, next week? But they did have a brief meeting.
Yeah, okay. I was just trying to do this, but I want to get, okay.
You need a minute?
Not even, but I do.
We'll have a pause.
Because I set this up.
Friends are meeting next week.
Oh, there it is. Perfect. Friends, go.
Okay, so they're meeting next week, but they did have a meeting, was it last week? Yeah, last week, to discuss the upcoming book sale and just get ready for it.
Next week, meeting the 28th?
Yeah, the next Friends meeting is the
28th, isn't it?
28th, January
Yeah.
28th.
Okay, very good.
Oh, goodness.
The Development Fund, the,
My glasses are breaking. Oh, good.
I don't have any duct tape on me.
the Development Fund, the Board of Trustees, and the Friends will be meeting on, what is the date?
January
January 29th, to discuss the outcome of the space study that was done by Stifler Associates. Town Center, Library Building Development and Marketing Committee is on hiatus. Town Center Committee, Karen?
They did not meet this month.
Okay. And Turkey Shoot Committee is on hiatus until next year?
Okay, you said January 29th for the development fund.
That's
Yes.
one group of people meeting.
Yes, for the joint meeting.
That's a group meeting between the Friends. It'll be the chair and the treasurer, the trustees, and the Development Fund, and Yvette, of course, will be there.
And
Any other
Did we
questions
all
about
go to
that?
Or just
No,
the chair?
it's just the
Okay.
treasurer and the chair.
marketing.
Anything else about that?
No, I just am a step behind at the moment, but I won't be for long.
Okay.
Town center.
Personnel Committee, I'm going to speak. I spoke with Karen about, we were talking about doing a 360 evaluation. And as I was looking over the materials and studying it a little more closely, I felt that it probably wasn't the best type of evaluation to move forward with at this time, because it requires follow-up. It's about performance development, and it requires coaching afterwards to help someone move forward in their professional development. And I don't feel the board is able to do that. We don't really have the skill set, and we're not there on a day-to-day basis to really be, I think, take that role. I think, however, we can go forward with forming an evaluation that allows us to get some feedback from the staff, but it's not really a true 360, so to speak. So Karen and I will be meeting soon to begin to pull all that together and formulate a document that we can use this year.
So it has to be done before April 1st, right?
I
Yeah,
believe we're
March
scheduling it in
15th was
March, about the
last
middle
year,
of
I looked
March.
it up.
I know it's before the election. We have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we will, once we pull something together, we will certainly bring that to the board to look at.
That would be in February's meeting.
We hope, yes.
Well, it kind of has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
We hope. Any questions about it? Yes.
Can I make a suggestion? I'm wondering if it might help you if you met with the other department heads, you know, Jen, Joanne, Emily, Brendan, who else is there, Brittany? Because I am over them, and they might be able to give you some suggestions for things that you don't, you know, you said you don't observe, you're not in the building, but they are. And I have meetings with them all the time, so I would just recommend maybe talk to them.
The board or
In
just
terms of
personnel
what?
committee?
The personnel committee to get some
Personnel committee
suggestions
to get
for things that they do observe, things that they could give you feedback on.
Oh,
So we could like develop a narrative based on
Yeah,
the information that
Yeah.
they gave us.
okay.
I mean, I
Suggestion, thank you.
absolutely don't need to be present for that, but,
Yeah.
No,
no. Okay.
okay.
I would maybe reach out to Jen, because she's acting director, and she could be your
Okay.
point of contact in place of me. I think that's the most appropriate.
Okay.
You could start with the things that was sent out. Her evaluation that we do, those questions,
Yes,
you could start with those.
yes.
Because several times when we go through it, we're like, well, we don't see this, because.
That's right.
Right,
but
it's
she
hard for us
probably does,
to-
so that would be
Right.
appropriate for the department heads, Jen, and the department
Right.
heads.
Right,
So-
yeah. It's a good idea, thank you.
Okay.
Building Maintenance Committee, nothing to, okay. And Investment Committee, I know I sent you out an email on the guidelines for financial management. Janet and I had met on November 30th and made a couple of edits to it. And I sent it out to you, but I apologize. I don't think I sent it PDF, and that's why you couldn't open it.
Okay.
I'm all day on Word and sending things, and then I go to my Apple and I forget to PDF. So I have copies of it for you here.
I went back through my paperwork. We've probably seen something else, right? I found two other documents that
Yeah.
we've seen that pertain to that. So I was saying maybe I hadn't seen them, but I did find them.
Yeah, but this is something different.
This is just an update.
I put,
What's this?
I
I
printed
found
it.
this after.
I didn't have any trouble with it.
What do you mean?
It's an extra copy, because this I printed out.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have any
You didn't
difficulty.
have any trouble?
No.
You don't need it either?
I took one.
You gave 4 copies.
Oh, I gave you 4, I'm sorry. Oh. Okay, the changes that were made, I put in bold and italics. The first change was number 11. We added this, and we did this based upon, I have it here. A document in the New Hampshire Library Trustees Association book. Number 11 says the LBOT shall sign all contracts on behalf of the library. The LBOT, the LBOT shall have an attorney review all contracts prior to signing at their discretion. That was based on a document that we came across on the New Hampshire Library Trustee Association. So that was the first change. The second change is on this page 2. Number 5, we just changed the wording. The board in collaboration with the director will discuss encumbered money in a public meeting before the end of the fiscal year. So we changed, the original read, the board in with consultation of the director, and I just thought that was awkward. So I changed it to in collaboration. Is that all right with everybody? Does that sound okay? Does that,
It's okay with me.
that seem like,
I have a comment about 11, but if you want to keep going, I'll come back to
Yeah,
it.
I have
Okay.
a comment on 11 as well, but
okay?
let's come back to it. You might
And
have
then-
the same one I do.
Under treasurer, number 1 was eliminated because we added 5 and 6, which kind of spells out number 1 in just a little bit different way. Number 1 read, under treasurer, last page.
Yeah.
Number 1 read, the trustee treasurer reviews, clears, and reconciles all library invoices and invoice information, i.e. receipts and related documents, and reviews QuickBooks entries for each check for proper documentation. We eliminated that and put as a number, added as separate lines, the treasurer clears and matches bank deposits with QuickBook transaction entries, and the treasurer reconciles the bank statements to QuickBook entries. We just felt it was a little clearer. Are there any comments about that?
So there's 5 items under the treasurer, and the one that says number 1 is going to be in the final
Eliminated.
form eliminated, and then 2 becomes 1, 3
Yeah.
becomes 2, and so on. Okay.
Any comments about the treasurer changes? No? Okay. Number 11,
Well, you go
There you
first.
go.
No, you go.
Yeah, you are. The second sentence, since it's at discretion of the Board of Trustees, I think it should read the LBOT may have an attorney review instead of shall, because shall in law is, it must be, versus may, you have the option.
Right, that goes along with at their discretion.
Is that what you had?
No.
Oh, okay.
okay, thank you.
This is not appropriate. I did speak to Paul McCallie about this, and in the town of Merrimack, there are only certain people who can sign contracts. Town manager, the purchasing agent, which is Xenia, and myself for the library. So the board does not sign.
We based it on the,
Okay.
oh,
I-
go ahead.
But Merrimack is an SB2 town, and how Merrimack operates is specific to Merrimack.
Okay,
I also pulled the other libraries that we're on. We have, I go to meetings to, none of them have trustees sign. When I'm signing as an employee of the town, so there's no liability for me personally. If you sign, you're not covered by the same protection. And there could be personal liability if there's an issue with payment, late payment, anything like that. So it's just a protection for the board.
okay,
The work still gets done. If there are contracts, if we get to go to a building contract, something really big, obviously you'll be looking at it. But if you want to look at the answers from the other libraries, these are librarians who've been in their positions for certainly longer than me, and they all said no. They've never heard of it. It does not happen from Manchester to small libraries.
Okay.
It's just not the practice.
okay.
So I did clear that with Paul, and that would be the concern, is the legal ramifications that nobody wants anyone to get involved with.
Okay, then
And
we'll
I'm
just,
already-
we'll strike that
Yeah.
one from the
Makes sense.
guidelines.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Scratch 11.
Any other comments about the guidelines? The
I
changes we
had a
made?
comment. Maybe this is just a wording thing. It's under hiring, personnel hiring. The LBOT will meet to approve new library hires after the background check comes through cleared. Haven't we decided to do that, and if the
We have
background
it
check?
pending.
Okay, so that's the difference.
Yeah, it's pending. It's the practice that the town follows, so but we didn't establish that until after these guidelines were written up. But I remember writing that,
That wasn't
we
my que-
hire pending a
Okay, that's, all right.
background check. That's what the letter says.
Yeah, I mean, yes. So when we've extended an offer to our most recent employees, they had a letter from me that the town uses. I've changed,
you
obviously,
showed me-
that
you
it's,
showed us
yeah,
that, yeah.
exactly. So this is a conditional offer now, and the employee is hired knowing that.
Okay.
And then you know, if anything comes back, obviously we withdraw the offer, and that's stated in the
So
letter.
does the wording of this need to be changed?
The way I read it, it made it sound like we wouldn't approve an employee until after the background check came through. I may be misreading it. Or maybe it's two things happening.
I don't know how you're reading it. What's not making sense? I mean, I didn't read it.
I'm
so I
reading
shouldn't
that
say.
we will approve a new hire after the background check comes through. And it says we meet. So we do something pending, do we then need to meet unpending it, if you will?
I think,
And
I mean, I make a recommendation for a hire, so maybe you put the word the director makes a recommendation to hire a candidate or to extend a conditional offer to a candidate. I mean, you discussed that, I discussed that with you guys.
So it,
Or we could change that first part of the sentence to, the LBOT will meet to approve new library hires pending a successful background check, or a clear background check, something like that. And, because that's what the letter,
I kind of liked what you just said, though, the way you said it.
Recommend? I said recommend.
Yeah,
I don't know what else I said.
like you recommend to us.
Okay, so the director will recommend potential hires or candidates, whatever, to the board. And extend a conditional offer of employment. Because you guys don't vote to accept until we get that back, and we're done. So I think it's the voting to accept part maybe that's missing.
Say that again, the way you phrased it?
No, like I said.
Director will recommend.
The director will recommend, I don't know, because it's really, I'm recommending to extend a conditional offer of employment. Are you writing this down,
I
Janet?
don't think this says anything different than what we've got written down. Because we're approving after it comes back cleared.
I think it depends on what's unclear to you.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding you, but basically what you're saying is we can vote even though we don't have the background check. But we can
I
vote
guess
to
I'm
approve, right?
misunderstanding what
Yes.
we do when you recommend someone. We're like, yep, we're on board with that. The person knows it's conditional on this background check. Are there two meetings about this person? One meeting to accept your
Well,
recommendation.
she's hiring before we actually approve. We approve after the check comes back cleared. I think
So
that's
it's
what
two
you're
separate
saying.
things.
Yeah.
she recommends we approve pending, and then when the check comes through, clear, we don't vote again, do we? I
We
don't,
usually vote once.
we vote once the first
Mhm.
time, yeah.
So
So,
that's
the director
technically
will
before
recommend
the
to
background
extend a
check
conditional offer.
comes
Yes,
back.
because you can always withdraw. If a background check comes back unclear,
Yeah.
we can always withdraw the offer. And then I'd give you another PAR that says vote to terminate this person, so.
So I have, the director will recommend to extend a conditional offer of employment pending a clear background check, something to that effect. Is that what you wrote? Oh,
Did you write it down?
well, I thought you were writing
I
away.
was, I got the first part, and then I was like, okay, that's as far as I need to write.
The director will recommend new hires to extend a conditional offer of employment?
To new hires pending a clear background check.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
The director will recommend new hires to extend a conditional offer of employment to new hires pending a background check,
Clear.
pending a cleared background check. Everybody agree with that? Does that make more sense to you, Janet?
Yes, I just felt like we were meeting twice and voting twice. That's how I was reading it, and either I was misunderstanding it or it wasn't clear. And you've re-explained it to me in this wording, Yvette, and I understand that too, so I don't know whether we want to change it or not.
It's fine.
It could be just
Okay.
semantics.
Is that acceptable, that rephrasing?
Yeah, if it's acceptable to everybody, I don't want everybody to change it just
Okay.
on my.
So the changes we've made is we struck out number 11 on the guidelines, which was the new one, which we're not adding. Under personnel, we changed the wording of the sentence under A, hiring, the first sentence only. We keep the prospective employee will cover the cost and will reimburse them. We're keeping that language. And then under treasurer, we struck number 1, and we added 2 lines that that break out what number 1 says essentially into simpler components. Okay, everybody agree? I hear any motions to accept the guidelines as edited with these changes?
Oh.
Rick, I'll second.
Karen, I
Oh,
think.
you can second, I don't care. All in favor? Okay. There goes that.
Did you vote?
Yeah.
I did
he
one of
raised
these.
his hand. Okay.
Do you want this on the website, or, because I have a lot of your documents up there, or no?
Which,
I don't think it's necessary.
It's up to you.
Do we or don't we vote?
Do we want it on the website?
Okay, so
Okay, so do we
she wants
take
it on
that
the
part
website.
out?
You want
Then
it
we
on
know
the
where
website?
it is.
Exactly,
I think
and,
so.
And you can date it.
exactly,
Read it.
and there are other times
Number.
that
Stated, yes.
other libraries are like, I wonder what they do.
yeah, you can revisit anything.
Then you can just send,
Exactly,
Yeah.
or, I mean, if I were ever looking for something from some other library, the document stuff is what I go
Yeah.
to first.
yeah,
So can you, when you get a clean copy?
Okay.
I will, yes,
And then put today's date on it,
Yes.
approved today.
yes, I have today's date on it now. So,
So at the very top, the
Yep.
original was May 7th, revised November 13th, and approved today.
Yep,
Did you open that on your iPad?
did I open this? No. Why?
I'm just curious how you opened it.
Okay.
I was on my computer, my desktop.
Okay.
New business donation discussion?
This is an email. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and jump in. You sent an email around, Laura, at the beginning of the year. Rick had an inquiry from a member of the public asking if the library would donate a gift basket to the robotics competition fundraiser. It's coming back to you.
All right, yep.
So you had asked Laura, do we have a policy about donating to profit or nonprofit organizations? If we do, please email it. So we don't. I did speak to one of the other directors, Lori Fisher at Baker Free Library in Bow. She's been around for a long time. She's very familiar with the guidelines from the Attorney General's office. So,
Okay.
because Terry Knowles isn't there anymore. So she said, from special, this would be funds from special, and at your discretion to expend them. What they've done at Bow, I think what we've done in Merrimack is the same thing. Items like we've done raffle baskets for the magic show, for Chamber of Commerce. I mean, a lot of times I would bring the board, here's a request, and the board can vote yes or no, and the idea is that it's getting the library's name out into a different population. And so it's almost like promoting and publicity, and that's exactly what Lori said, and I said, well, we're doing that. Not in cash, you never give cash. Make sure it's documented in the minutes that you had this discussion, and I think we've done that in the past. And that's all I wrote. So, I think usually the requests come to me, but I think if you have a request, obviously you're involved in robotics, then you would just follow the same procedures, bring it to the board, and then you guys talk about it.
Would that be a donation from the library or from the board itself?
Usually we say it's from the board because it's special funds.
Okay.
And then I've been authorized,
gift
usually
baskets
it's
fit?
like $75.
All the gift baskets you do?
Yeah.
Oh, I realize all of them were, okay.
Yeah, we voted on a bunch of them in the past
Yeah, I
for
guess
different
we
things,
have.
but
Yeah, I
for
wasn't thinking of them
specific
that way,
causes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the first one I was involved with was like the July 4th.
yeah,
We
like
had a
the July 4th
table
where-
and there was a Kindle or something. We were trying to push that we were into technology and
Right.
had a raffle
the-
at the
the-
table.
Point I think you alluded to here was, you know, like the July 4th
Mhm.
is an event where this was a specific group's event.
Yeah, we've
Uh,
done that. I mean, magic show, I mean, like you always do the magic show. You used to do, oh gosh, what have you done? I'd have to look in the, look in the files. Yeah, it's just a question you bring to the board. And then you decide. You can always say no.
Do we need a guideline statement about that? Or is it not necessary?
I don't know.
It's the board's discretion, I think.
I mean, your treasurer is right there. You can ask her what she thinks.
I'm looking for a specific email, because I ended up, from a listserv and talking to Joanne, I ended up having to contact Thomas Donovan, who is he is the Director of Charitable Trusts at the Department of Justice. And he gave me this long email about basically giving money away, and the bottom line was, like, if it's related to the library, you can give it. It's like the library wouldn't give to a hospital, but they if they were doing like some sort of drive, unless it were to promote books or literacy. But but his bottom line is, like, the charitable unit doesn't like other charities giving to other charities. So, but if it's related to the library, then he's like, yeah, that's no problem. So,
So what is it?
Perhaps we
I
need a
don't know where that
guideline
leads us.
statement.
it says,
Well, the event's already over, so
Oh,
they were, so this one's a moot point.
okay.
This one's a moot point. But they were asking, you know,
But see, robotics doesn't have anything to do with the library.
right,
On the other hand, basketball doesn't have anything to do really with the
Well, that was
library.
an advertisement.
But it
And the
was
town.
it was
it was
in.
promoting the library.
Well, the town, but the robotics is from the town too.
Yeah,
yeah, but no, the town paid for it.
The town,
It came out of advertising.
right.
That was
Yes,
advertising
that was
library
out of
directly,
our
yeah.
budget, because we handled it as advertising.
That was an advertisement,
And
not a
it's
gift.
in their brochure or something.
I have it.
A program,
That's,
oh, cool. Oh, good.
I can pass it around now or later. But I have it in my thing.
What are we discussing?
I'm sorry?
What are we
the
discussing?
need, well,
Well, we're trying to decide, do we need a guideline? I don't know if we need a policy, but a guideline about the LBOT donating to other organizations, gift baskets primarily. I don't think we've donated anything else.
No.
You know, just gift baskets.
And the reference to this specific event was just,
yeah, somebody on the robotic team knew me, so they came to me and said, would the library be willing? And so I passed it on to Laura for discussion.
And so the charitable thing is, or the guideline from the, what was the organization?
Which, well,
Janet.
this was, oh,
Department of
From-
Justice.
Department of Justice.
The Department of Justice, well, recommends, you know, you're giving to organizations that support your mission, that are.
In some way.
Yeah, that are related.
or that the act of the donation promotes, so like you said,
Yeah.
reading in a
Right.
hospital
Yeah.
Right.
would be
see.
promoting the
So-
mission of the library.
Well,
So
if,
like this, he said, his example was, so a hospital could contribute to a local community health center because it promotes its mission of a healthy community, but it should not give money for hurricane relief in Florida. And and so he's like, in general, we are skeptical of one charity giving money to another unless it is related to its mission. So,
Well, just about anywhere in town would be related to our mission, because we are promoting the excellence of Merrimack, town of Merrimack. I don't know, what is it? The words fail me.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Well, like the Merrimack school system, students who live in Merrimack and want to achieve in Merrimack want to, the robotics.
what are others' thoughts about having a guideline about this? No thoughts?
I feel like it couldn't hurt. That would be
Just for
clear.
consistency, maybe.
exactly, even just
Consistency.
to,
Yeah.
just in terms of dollar amount and what we give, what
Just the
types of
guideline.
things we give to.
Still have to,
Usually,
right,
would you say
revisit
75 is
everything that-
usually what costs usually end up being?
Yes, and you can tuck it right into your guidelines you just approved. This is say it's
you go.
money.
Oh, that's a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
We could add another statement.
Lucky us.
Maybe that's the best place for it. Good idea.
It is a good idea.
So do others agree we should add a guideline statement regarding donations to our guidelines?
Yeah.
Okay. So Janet and I will put our heads together and come up with a statement.
You could say,
Huh?
just hurry this along.
What?
Requests will be addressed on a case-by-case basis. And then you're done. And then you could do it on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, here, and I thought we were done with this. Okay.
but that
think
doesn't
this
make
is
it
gonna be an
short and
ongoing
easy,
document.
'cause you
Well, because then
to
it
do
comes
that.
to the
Yeah, but
board
that's
and,
it.
Right.
then you,
Donations,
you know,
donations will be
there's a word that I'm missing. Reviewed, considered, considered.
considered.
It's a better
There you
word,
go.
yep.
Yeah. Requests will be considered on a case-by-case basis.
There you go. There's your line. Done. We don't have to meet.
Requests?
Donation
Requests for
requests.
donations.
Yeah.
What's the sentence?
Donation requests will be considered on a case-by-case basis.
Well, I think we should say we do not give cash. We would only give a gift basket. Right?
Okay.
Why would you, well, cash is just, we can't.
Right.
Right,
I would
that's
just say
a-
we can't give cash.
Otherwise, I think we
unacceptable.
could discuss whatever it is.
Yeah,
Maybe
no.
they don't want a gift basket. Maybe they would want, I don't know, something
book.
else. A book. Yeah. I don't know.
We put the
Oh.
book in the basket.
Well, we have done that. No.
We have done what?
We've put books in baskets. We've put,
Yeah.
oh gosh, we did like snap circuits because we had snap circuits in the children's collection. There was a certificate for a one-on-one appointment with one of the reference librarians to go over ancestry.com. So it's always connecting to how do we promote what we're doing and not just it's a random basket. It's always a themed, library themed.
Well, years and years ago, you had the lunch with the librarian.
Yeah, we
My
did.
daughter was the one who won it.
I know.
You were the
She
children's
said
librarian.
I made better mac and cheese than your wife,
Yeah.
but it was store-bought mac and cheese that day. So she's still in the running.
Yeah.
A donation cannot be a cash donation.
So donations cannot be cash. Do we need a dollar limit on the amount of donations?
Well, if you're considering it case by case,
Yeah, no.
you would determine that
Yeah.
as it comes up,
Okay,
or could determine it as it comes up.
yeah,
Because we could always say,
Allow
well,
for
that's too much, so we
flexibility.
won't do
Exactly.
whatever.
okay. All right. Homework, okay.
Okay.
Any other thoughts about that? No thoughts? Okay. We've already approved these, so we will come up with another statement for next time.
Flexible.
Statistics for the fourth quarter.
Were those emailed? 'Cause I don't
Yeah,
remember
I
seeing
couldn't,
them.
I couldn't.
Are they in this file?
This is the,
Like that.
Okay, I don't remember seeing that.
You highlighted
Is it cold in here?
Yeah, I
No.
did.
something I looked at too.
And so I was like, wow, like,
No,
these numbers are, and this is probably a totally understandable
cool.
explanation,
Yours
but
too, but,
I was just curious.
are you feeling okay?
yeah, well,
Better.
They took out the air conditioning units.
Oh, I do have it, never mind.
We can hear ourselves.
Here it is.
It's amazing. It's so
I
nice
have
and
it.
quiet.
These glasses are gonna drive me nuts.
Okay,
Do you
donation.
want mine?
I mean,
I should break it off at this point.
So,
Really could do something
I
about
noticed
this.
that,
Good.
a lot of the numbers decreased. Some went up and I guess others went down.
okay.
I'm not sure how to read that.
Circulating means it's being taken
Checking in and
out,
out.
checking in and out
Yep.
of the library, so that number could go up and down, right?
Yeah. I mean, we also, sometimes we look at, how many days we open.
Right.
Do we have holidays? Was there a flood? You know, goofy
Under
things like that.
customers, it says added, like for December, is that December I'm reading? December, 65, deleted 3, but then the total 68.
Where are you seeing this?
Right,
Oh, total
That's true.
customers.
Under customers? Am I reading that wrong?
Wait,
I don't know where you're looking.
Yes, customers is down near the bottom.
After
programming.
programming before computer users.
It says
Oh.
customers in the blue.
Let's, added 65, deleted 3, total
Total
68.
yeah, the total line is adding the 2 lines above it. It's not coming out, it's,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's-
I'll go talk to Joanne. I mean, that's customer cards that have expired.
Yeah.
So we have to purge the records, because then it gives us a false number if we keep people on the books who don't even live in town anymore, or whatever. So,
I see.
So it should just be subtracted as opposed to added.
well, it just, yeah.
60, yeah, it should be 60.
so the added, does that count the people who renew? Like, today I went and renewed my card, so would I be counted as an add now?
Probably, yeah. I mean, because there's only, I can ask, but it looks like there's only add or delete, not renew, so you would still count, you know, she doesn't have a breakdown for how many people re-up,
Re-up versus brand new people.
right?
Okay.
Although we have a different number
I wasn't sure
for-
if we counted renews at all.
Well,
is
that's
what
an
I'm
interesting
wondering.
point, because when it says added, what comes to my mind is new people.
We do have a different number for new people. It's just not reflected on this breakdown.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay. That would be interesting to know.
I can tell you. So, yeah, when we get to the annual report,
Okay.
because I have some additional numbers for that.
So total customer cards in November were 14,601.
That's the running total for the year.
And so you don't have a total for December?
I do, but she emailed it to me because I only needed a running total through June 30th,
Okay,
2018 for the report.
okay.
But we're at, I think December was, I think it was something like 14,700 by then.
Hmm.
I think those, I'll just say, numbers in the past, we actually, this is 2,000 higher than the usual number I've seen in other years for customer cards. So cards are going up.
Nice.
It's nice.
Well, we're getting all these apartment
Under-
buildings and different community things being built, so we should be.
Under database usage,
Mhm.
that's all of the databases we have at the library, that, you know, like the Ancestry and the cars and
Yes.
all of all the databases.
Yes, but we have, this report that you're looking at is a summary.
Yes. it's
We
what it looks
have,
like, yeah.
you know, I have a whole separate sheet of databases, which I think you guys saw during the budget,
Mhm.
where there was, you know,
Broke
things from the
down.
state, things that we buy individually, it was pretty long,
Mhm.
but I have that.
Does, under database usage, those numbers, is that number of, like, individual users, or is that, like, number of questions?
It's number of hits. It's inquiries into the database.
Okay.
The children's programs seem to be very popular.
What is considered an outreach?
We go to visit a daycare.
Oh.
Or a classroom, or farmer's market. We just go out in the community. Children's Room has a whole schedule of when they visit preschools and daycares, and all the staff are taking part in it.
Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
It is very nice.
Mhm.
If there were a category that didn't have a high number of circulation, would that mean anything? Like Hoopla, 31, 30, 34. That's how many times it was accessed or how many people accessed it? And I know you just asked this, Janet, so I apologize.
Hoopla is a circulating, any of the things on Hoopla is circulating. So you check it out and it checks back in. So we're counting a checkout.
Okay.
Where a database is like a hit. And you can use it, but it doesn't ever check out to you. It just stays in the library. It's not a checkoutable thing. But I, also for Hoopla, there's a lot more detailed spreadsheets for each type of item in Hoopla. The most popular thing in Hoopla is audiobooks, and that's pretty much across the consortium. Any of the libraries that
I do, I have one right now.
Ditto.
any of the libraries that have audiobooks, that have Hoopla, and not all the libraries do, audiobooks are the most popular item. Same with Overdrive, not the print, but the audiobook. So people are driving, you know.
Does
just-
I'm sorry, Overdrive have print books on there too? I didn't think they did.
Well, it's,
I don't
I
have
thought
print,
they-
but you can do it, I can do.
I thought they were only audiobooks
Oh,
on
no, you can do
Overdrive.
an ebook on
On Overdrive?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll take a closer look at that.
you should download, there's an app called
Have it.
Libby. Libby?
Oh, no, I have Overdrive on my phone, but I never used it.
No, if you go to your, whatever store your phone uses, then look for the Libby app, and then you can align to Merrimack Library, and then it's a nicer interface than Overdrive.
For Overdrive?
Yeah, but it's
It's
Libby.
called Libby.
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 Okay, any other thoughts or discussion about the statistics at this point?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, because we can look at it in the annual report because it's the year. And you'll see more of a broader statistic picture.
Okay. Alrighty, then let's move on to the treasurer's report, please.
Right. So, I've sent you 5 files like I've been doing. It's the details of fines and special, and then it's the profit and loss by month, so you can see like the last 3 months. It's like a sliding window. But the one that we're focusing on is the balance sheet.
You don't have one?
You can read it. So this is fines.
Yeah, I looked at them online. I must have forgot to print them off.
The starting balance for fines for December, we started with $11,485.53. And we ended with $11,722.38. And then under special, again for December, we started with $12,215.06. And we ended with $11,541.52. And again, if you had any questions with the by month or the individuals, the individual ones just break it down so you can see more of what, more specifically what was purchased.
Trust, up in the middle of your total business checking for DCU, it says Trust Fund YA.
Wait a minute, I need to know where you are.
On the balance
Right
sheet.
here.
Young adult,
Oh,
which
young
means, so
adult.
under,
Yeah,
under trust fund, there's a percentage that has to be spent for children's room. And so that would be under YA
Okay.
for young adult.
and right underneath that, it says book sale and in donation?
Anonymous.
Oh, anonymous donation. Okay. Okay, very good. Any discussion about this balance sheet? Oh dear.
Or
what
any
did
of the
I
other
do?
forms?
Huh?
Or any of the other forms?
What did I do here to my form?
Okay.
Oh, there it goes. No other questions? Nope, looks good.
Good.
Everybody happy?
It's all good.
Okay, then we shall move on to the operating budget, the general ledger. Yeah, which is in landscape format here.
You can turn it. Right there.
It's more fun to do it the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
way,
yeah,
Janet.
right there.
It's more fun to play with it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see it anyway. All right. Any questions about the general ledger? Any comments?
Actually, I do, but it, oh, wait, where is it?
What month is that?
When I was reviewing the invoices, what is Merrimack Live petty cash? Under vendor?
We have petty cash.
So are you being reimbursed from the town from petty cash?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it's, so let's say I have a program and I need some creamer and this happens all the time, run across the street to the mobile and buy creamer. And then it's, my money, and then we just put the receipt in the bank bag. And, Joanne regularly, I don't know how regularly goes through those, probably monthly or twice a month, goes through and sees what all the things are. If someone needs to run out and buy something, this has already been discussed with their department head during a programming session, and so it's not just people kind of randomly running out and getting creamer. But she'll go through and get all the receipts, put them up in a cover sheet, like an expense report cover sheet. I approve it. I have to sign all the receipts. They get taped onto a piece of
Right.
paper and sent over to town, and then they give us a check, and that check gets deposited into, I guess, depending on what it is, it's probably special.
Well, I was just wondering, because like there's a couple of places, like it
Mhm.
says maintenance supplies janitorial, and
Mhm.
it's petty cash. So it looks like someone might have bought something.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And then they got reimbursed through petty cash, but then the town pays you
It
back?
depends,
I mean, I'm just not sure.
it depends, okay, so if I'm taking a 20 out, I write a note, Yvette took a 20 today, and it goes in, and then I'm gonna put the change back in with the receipt. So we're always trying to have a paper trail. usually it's, I don't know, I want to say last minute, because
Oh,
for those
sure.
of us who have a work credit card, then we don't have to touch money at all.
Sure.
So it's anyone who really doesn't have their credit card, if they have to run out and get something.
Any other questions? No?
But we're paying back the bag.
That's what I figured. I was just, I'm like, because it's under vendor, so I'm like, I bet they're just getting money and they're paying, like you just
It's
said.
paying back the bag.
Okay, that was it.
Can I, just a little thing, on, it says MPL at the top, and then it says December 2019 invoices. On this,
Oh,
Good catch.
Yeah, okay.
wow.
Yep.
Went through a whole year already? Wow.
I'm exhausted.
yeah,
That
I
was
know,
some year. No,
me
I'll-
too.
I'll tell her. Obviously,
It's
it's
a
28.
prediction of
We
what's
got
to
a new
come.
library.
I know, that's right.
Thank you.
Oh, I just,
Bet
the
gets
years
her own
start running together enough. I don't need help. Oh, my goodness.
Monthly invoices,
Yeah, that's,
Janet?
No,
we were just talking
just
about.
That's
talked
kind
about
of
him,
what we
that
were
was
already
it.
talking about, yeah.
I mean, they kind of go together to me, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you for sending it early. That was great.
Yeah, whenever she gets it ready, then I can send it.
That was great.
Yeah, we've got Tom Boland really pulling everything and then sending to her, and then she'll format so it's clear, and then it goes. So, very smooth right now.
Very good, thank you. Director's report.
Okay, so we had a couple of donations of these newspapers and games that are listed, and you should vote to accept each one.
That was very interesting to get all those newspapers from the first,
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of an interesting collection.
Yeah.
I move we accept the donations as donated to the library here. No?
I just have a question. Are they in a form, like, how are they gonna be kept?
Brendan has I don't know if I brought his email with me, but he has a whole plan. Here's the plan, okay.
Oh my.
Okay, so periodical storage for now. Plan on digitizing newspapers. Could be difficult if copyright gets involved. Put them on display in the Lowell room. Plan on revamping the historical collection in the coming years so room could potentially be made. Important historical documents for public viewing. So, yeah, I mean, I think initially it's, storage, but then we can still have it on display in Lowell. And then the board games are also being kept in periodical storage, but brought out for the family game nights and circulating to patrons.
Okay.
And both the games, he spoke to Emily, so they both agreed that they could use the games. And then for the newspapers, that's really under Brendan's purview, so he just accepted. I mean, he requested that I say, can we accept these?
I make a motion to accept these, all of them.
Second? All in
Is
favor?
this all the newspapers or just all the donations, including the board games?
All
All
the
the
donations.
donations.
All the donations.
Okay. Did you
In
second?
favor?
Who said, you seconded?
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
okay.
Anything on the building maintenance project list?
So Jared is repainting the staff door, that's the metal door? It says exterior
repaints.
Oh, yeah, that needs, but when the weather changes,
Oh,
he'll paint that. That's a bit scratched up.
okay.
Wasn't he already painting the stools?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
how many he
right.
has completed?
Yeah.
They
They
look
look
great.
great.
They
Seems like
do.
he's been doing it a while.
One of
Well,
the
there's like
toilets was
35 of
askew.
them.
Yes.
Oh,
Do we know what happened to it? Was it like vandalism or just accident,
I don't think so. I
What-
think it was an accident.
overuse or something?
I don't know.
Old.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's really easy to move them.
I just saw that, I was worried that, was there vandalism or something?
No.
And you had already had all that stuff with the countertop, that was all.
Yeah.
Reviewed and done, and hopefully, yay, it got fixed and done.
Yeah, that's replaced.
Yeah, that was quite a process for you guys.
Okay.
well, these, the projects on here are dated 6 months ago. Is there anything more recent? Oh, down below, you've got a few things, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's everything he's been working on.
Been working.
I was just looking at the top, I wasn't focusing on the bottom. It's got the most recent things.
Well, some things can't be done until the weather
toilets are okay
changes.
in the women's room, aren't they? 'Cause there's been a couple times when they're stable enough.
Yeah, yes, we had our,
Been a couple things with them.
we had our plumber come in and fix it.
And the men's room hasn't had any further problems, has it?
No, I mean, the urinal is finicky because of how the drain is placed, so, we just watch it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So what's this one about the guy that's requesting a fence on the DW side of the parking lot?
Well, that's later. That's later at the bottom of my report.
Okay,
Where do you
Alright.
see a fence?
I'm jumping ahead.
He doesn't, it's.
I'm jumping ahead,
You
sorry.
are jumping ahead.
What?
He's under correspondence.
Yeah,
Okay,
what-
so for administration,
I don't have that up.
yes. Okay, for administration, that's where I put the window proposal.
Oh, yeah.
So, I had sent the email to you last month.
Yep.
Just a couple of little updates from Paul. Primex will not cover any of it.
Any of the children's windows?
No. And it's, the capital reserve. That's how it would be paid.
But this doesn't include the window.
It's removing the window altogether and bricking it up. So there's
entire thing?
Oh, so there's no window at all.
there's no possibility of flooding.
Oh, I didn't
Because
realize that.
when I was on site talking with one of the engineers, I said, okay, because they have to brick it up, the proposal is, one of the things that was kicked around, brick it up to where the water line was.
Yeah, that's what that says.
And then I said, well, even if we have, let's say this much window, an 8-inch window, could it flood? And he said, yes.
But we talked about putting in like aquarium glass or something, that wouldn't matter. It'd
It's
still
still a
leak around the
seam.
window.
It's still a seam.
Hate to block it off entirely.
You can't get above the,
I don't I don't think anyone's gonna 100% guarantee. It's a seam.
Fill block solid with reinforcing. It's just,
You can't get higher than the concrete wall outside? It seems to me.
It would
there's-
get filled in, that's the thing, because there's a drain, there's a gully.
There's a drain,
That
but,
all would come up to street level. So
Right.
then it changes the water level.
right, but the windows are above that
Sure.
level.
But what happened was,
Oh, the
you know,
water
the
would now be
gully,
up to where the windows are.
Right, but the
because the-
windows can be higher than that wall.
then you have to cut open a new wall. I mean, then it
Well,
goes
that's what
up to the
well, that's what we're
second
asking.
floor.
So is the top of the children's room windows above the gully?
Okay, but you're gonna fill in the gully, and then you have to have the ground kind of rated so water pours away. but he can't guarantee that with any kind of window, even a small window, that there won't be water that might pour in, because it's a seam.
You never know what Mother Nature's gonna throw our way.
So you're filling in the gully?
Yeah.
I-
Yeah,
did I
fill in the
know?
gully, remove the
Oh,
Move the
that whole
drain,
thing's gonna be filled in with what?
dirt.
whatever they
Dirt
fill things
cells.
with.
Fill and compact.
And then, take the pole, the fence away.
Yeah.
There's like fencing,
Oh,
there's a
that's what
barrier.
you, oh.
No, that's not, no, that's something
What
different.
about those little
Oh.
round windows they
The-
have in the
the-
submarines?
Pipe, it's like, metal, big
Yeah.
metal
Some rain
railing.
quality,
Yeah.
I guess. for some reason.
That's what that was, cause it says
I just
remove
hate to
railing, I'm
see
like, what's
them-
that?
Not have any sunlight coming in there.
No.
So if Primex isn't covering it every time it happens, we're gonna have to access capital reserve, right?
To fix it, we have to close the room and do a big cleanup, and our insurance rates might go up, because this is now something that's, it's a recurring problem with no fix. So that was the other,
Right,
That's what I'm
that whole
saying. I'm saying they're
Primex.
not gonna keep, they won't pay for it, and then if it happens again, like,
Right.
it's eating away at money. We're never gonna recover that money from an
No.
insurance standpoint.
but his, Philip St. Cyr, who's from Primex, wrote back to Paul, and Paul said, would there be any reason that, Primex could cover these? And he said, unfortunately, no. Hopefully the upgrades will result in less claims and a lower loss ratio eventually. If that happens, your cost of coverage should become more stable with the reduced exposure.
So have they covered it before? Is that what?
No.
Okay, never covered.
I mean, the floods,
They
the flood,
covered
yeah, the flood
insurance.
cleanup
Yeah,
That
is covered, and we had some bookcases replaced, because they were badly damaged by the water. And it's not like they,
So this will not be covered by Primex is what we're saying. Oh, that makes sense. Why would they cover that?
I don't know, he said you can't kill a guy for asking, so,
Oh, yeah, no,
exactly,
but, right.
exactly.
hurt a guy for trying.
And we don't have any sense of, beyond this leaking into the windows, what's under the library. What water is potentially penetrating the brick? I don't know. Do we have to worry about
What do you
that?
mean?
You
Like
mean
if you
like
get all
an
that
underground stream?
water pooled in that cul-de-sac, whatever you
There's a
wanna call
drain.
it.
There's a drain there, but there's no
But the
evidence of
drain is
that.
not, clearly not working if the water is coming so fast, it's
Well, that's
getting into
because
the.
That drain goes out into the middle of the street, and it's just not, it's not big enough. And it backs up.
It's flooded 3 times in 3 years, the
Yeah,
past 3 summers, and we've had really unusual downpour,
Yeah,
torrential rain. It's just been very unusual rain. And, the drain is closer to the building than it was when the building was built. There's a right turn now, so now everything's closer to it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
land used to extend out onto Route 3.
So is then the other option leave it alone? Because it's only a thing that's gonna happen every once in a while.
What?
No.
If this amount of water is gonna happen infrequently, or maybe it's gonna, are we saying don't do it at all? Don't do any repairs?
Oh, we
Most
have
of
to do something.
no, I think
3 times
we
in
have to
3
do something.
years, right?
Primex told us we have to do something.
Yeah, we won't be covered. They won't, I mean, as it is, the rate to pay for insurance is going up every time it happens, so.
So, it seems to me there isn't any way to save these windows.
Doesn't
Right.
seem like it.
I'd love to see them saved, but I don't know what I'm hearing that we could save them.
Mm.
I think that's the trade-off.
It would just seem to
I
me,
think you could put a
especially
really
if you're
nice
gonna,
mural across it now.
yeah.
Have some painter come in.
We could put mirrors if you really
Well,
wanted to
but it
look
would
like a
seem
win-
to
I
me
mean,
that if you're filling in that gully and you're taking those measures, that you should be able to get some kind of window in there that really wouldn't be at risk for flooding at that point. Because you've taken out the flood buildup source, unless too much water goes in that gully and it saturates the soil and starts to rise
He
up.
couldn't guarantee, I mean, I asked him, I said, if it's just an 8-inch window way up here, I can't guarantee that. So,
Well, I can understand that, but if the risk is really low, I would be in favor of having some kind of window in there. It's just gonna make that room so
Wondering
dark.
if we can get a second opinion then.
Yeah, I mean, they're not gonna guarantee anything to protect themselves.
Yeah.
I would think, that based on the way that is situated, that if you had something a little higher and maybe a little smaller, you could still get a window in there that really would be a very, very low risk for being compromised.
I mean, how much light are you gonna get for such a small window? Right now, there's no view.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
don't open the windows because of the smog, soot.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
you've gotta,
It's not a benefit necessarily to have a window.
I mean, aesthetically, it's nice to have a window, but like you're there, Emily's there, Kathy's there. Does it matter to them? Like you just said, you don't even get much light from it.
but you still have light. Do they care one way or the other?
I don't know that I asked.
Oh.
I think if they were, I don't want to speak for them. I'll speak for me. If it's not flooding ever again until we get a new building, or potentially flooding for the fourth year, I think we cannot keep closing the library. I mean, it's in the summer, it's summer reading, everyone is upset. I mean, patrons are upset. It's very disruptive for so many reasons. And then we risk damaging material, you know,
And
is
you
that a
could
trade-off for
rearrange the
window?
room now.
we've rearranged the room and we still
Exactly.
had a flood.
Exactly, but now you could rearrange the room totally differently.
Well, because we'd have walls.
Exactly.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what she would want to do. I don't know.
And could you put in,
Wait, so what are we doing? Are we gonna vote on, is that what you're asking us to do?
Yeah, so, you need to discuss it. You need to discuss it. If you agree with this recommendation, that the engineers are sending over, then I can tell Paul to go ahead, and then it would be, they would schedule the project, and it would get done.
And who, it's
this is the same
Turnstone
people
Corporation?
doing
Yeah, who's,
the DPW building, right?
that's what I was gonna
Yes.
ask, okay.
What?
This company is the same company that is doing the DPW building.
Oh,
Where would the money be coming from though?
The capital reserve.
do we know about how much it would cost?
59,517.
This paper?
Oh, that one, yes.
You
Minus the cost of the drain. I know, I looked at that.
no, it's all part of,
Here.
it's all part of our
But
project.
that's a town thing, not us.
It's all part of our
Now,
project.
what,
I know, but it's not, it's a
What
town
sort
thing,
of-
it's not our
I
responsibility.
don't wanna say guarantee, warranty, I mean, the wall leaks. I mean,
The wall shouldn't leak, but it will look,
Oh dear.
it will be two different bricks.
sure.
That's the only,
Oh dear.
Is this something we can put out to bid though?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, I
And
can ask
then-
Paul.
Would we be in the same place that you have brought to us before, that nobody responds?
I don't know.
What's that?
She's asked
Oh,
for,
yeah, I'm with you.
I mean,
she's asked for other people to give her some kind of a quote or whatever, and you don't even hear back from the people.
no, but they're already engaged with the town. So
Yes,
it was
these
easy
people.
for, yeah, so it was easy for Paul to just say,
But
hey,
if you put it out to bid, is that gonna guarantee you that someone bids?
it's a small project.
Yeah.
We have talked to other people about this before, like a
And you
year ago.
didn't get-
Yeah, no.
Right? You didn't get anyone that was really like, yeah, we wanna do it. And I'm not saying not to put it out to bid,
Right.
but we should expect that we
Yeah.
might not.
So regardless of who this goes through, what's the impact of the library?
Good question.
I don't have a timeline. I'd have to go back and, you know, tell him, yes, what's the timeline? And then we figure it out from there. I don't think it is a very long project, you know, maybe a day or two, maybe 2 days. You know, because we've had the large window, the north window was replaced
Right.
half a day. That was half a day. And we just stayed open and roped off the area. It was a nice day. I don't remember it being, cold or anything. And then they just, took it out and put a new one in. So, but I think that's, yeah, we need a little bit more information for the timeline, but
Well, we also need a visual, like a drawing, to visualize what this is gonna look like.
It's gonna look like a brick wall.
Smell effect brick.
Okay, so it says raise manhole drain to the top of the concrete wall.
I'm sorry, what?
It says raise manhole drain to the top of the concrete wall.
Which I still think is a town responsibility.
Just fill in the gully.
it's, on one hand, the capital reserve, it's all one pot of money for the town, so.
Yeah, but still, it's a detail. What's your question, Janice?
To visualize this we know what it's gonna look like from the inside, it's gonna be brick. We know what it's gonna look like from the outside in terms of the brick part. But when it says raise the manhole drain to top of the concrete wall, we've got that drain in a pit, right? So it's coming up,
That gets
what
filled.
level with the
Area
sidewalk?
should be filled in.
Is
Right,
that sidewalk gonna be
Right.
level then?
Mhm.
As far as like aesthetically, it's just gonna be level there?
It's
It's-
gonna be
it's
filled
gonna
in
be
with dirt,
dirt,
but dirt will
grass.
settle.
So,
So they'll
You
have
could
to,
put
Landscape.
landscape stuff
Yeah,
there, you
yeah.
could put
Yeah.
flowers or shrubs or something there.
gravel,
Yeah.
something that will take in rain,
Yeah.
yeah,
absorb rain.
you'd want something to
Pull
hold
it away
that
from the
soil,
building.
yeah.
Shrubbery.
I demand shrubbery.
was also the idea is that this company's already in our town, already working on a project. So they're here, we had a hard time getting someone to respond to this small project.
Well,
Is it worth, investigating it more? Do these people need to come and present something to us?
I don't know that that's
Do we need
necessary.
to, table it and discuss it more?
I hate to give up the window because the way it is now, it does, you do feel the light coming in and it is more cheerful. It's not as nice to work in a room where there is no window. However, a fourth flood would really not be good. So if I have to pick between windows and flooding and our insurance and all that other stuff, then I say, and since engineers have looked at this and it is the way to go, no matter what company does it, because nobody's gonna guarantee that we won't get any floods if we keep a window in.
Here's another thing to maybe consider. If you remember the floor plan from Stibler, it's not even a children's room anymore.
Right.
It's a meeting room.
Right.
And the clump room has no windows. And we have a flat screen TV and you can face the audience in any direction. So if you go, if we never change anything in the library in the near future, then we lose windows, but we don't flood. And we work around that. But if you do decide to change something, then it's not a children's room in one of those versions. If you decide to go with a new building, it's not our problem anymore.
Right.
We demo the whole, whatever, who knows, whatever, it's Stibler or it's something different. And this is a solution to solve this flooding issue. And then there are other bigger building issues that you have time to think about,
Well, we have a responsibility to take care of this building and do what's right for this building, so I think what Karen said has a lot of,
Well, I
Validity
don't know
and-
where else to
I
go.
think we're sort of put in a position where we have to take the route that's going to prevent future problems and enhance our insurance status.
And yes, we could think about it, but we don't want to think about it too long because the time frame out and so on to get into, you know, a line before spring comes when we're seriously
But we
gonna
don't
get
want
wet.
it being done during summer reading either.
Yeah.
Any comments? Are you feeling like you want to table this? I feel like we could vote on it this evening.
could vote on
if-
it.
If people are,
Yeah, I feel we could, I just didn't, I suggested that because I didn't know if we'd come to that moment.
Janet,
I'm fine with voting on it.
okay?
Could I just throw out one other idea, and it doesn't have really anything to do with this per se? Could you, substitute, and that will be a substitute for windows, but put different kinds of lighting in that room? So that you would maybe get, you know, it won't replace windows, but it might give that side of the room a different feel if you put different kinds of lighting, which has nothing really to do with this amount of money, but just a thought.
Yeah, adjustments can be made to the space once the correction's made. Any other comments or thoughts about the windows? Do I hear a motion from anybody regarding this?
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal done by Turnstone Corporation for the removal of the children's room windows
Repair?
and new brick and everything that's in this proposal.
Yeah.
Okay, would anyone like
Read
to
it out.
second it?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Okay.
Thank you, Paul.
Did they give you any kind of timeline on, no, they didn't.
Did
Well,
everybody
because it's
vote
pending
yes?
your
Yes,
approval,
yeah,
so
so I was
I will
just-
email him
Okay,
and find out.
okay.
Okay, so the last thing on here, that Rick was mentioning, we got a visit from a resident, who came into the library. He does not have a library card, he doesn't normally use the library, but he was concerned about the fact that there is no fencing around the parking lot, particularly on the DW side. And he talked at length with one of our staff, so I called him back, and he talked at length with me. He told me that he lives right near the lobster boat. And it was very disturbing to him that the lobster boat did not have fencing around the parking lot. And he complained to the town, he's complained to the owner of the restaurant, he's complained to the police, and the police said, well, as I understand what he's telling me, the library has the same kind of parking lot with no fencing on the DW. So he came to see us. He,
Where is this?
It's under correspondence.
Sorry.
I put it under correspondence.
Oh, okay, thank you.
He did say, don't be surprised if you see this in the Telegraph. I'm like a dog with a bone. He was very agitated. He was very concerned that children would be hurt running out on the street. I said, have you ever seen anything happen at the lobster boat? He said, no. So
I'm sorry, he wants fencing along the curb?
he is concerned. He wanted to make me aware, and I'm making you aware, that he's concerned that there's no fence on the DW side of the parking lot. Is where the staff park. He's concerned that children are going to run into the street.
Oh, over there.
On the
okay.
DW side, okay.
I'm thinking
I-
Babusk
I-
Lake
yeah,
Road,
I'm
actually,
thinking
for
the
some
side
reason.
facing Town Hall, and I'm like, where would you even put, but, yeah, I'm picturing now, it's
Yeah,
on the, okay.
I'm giving you a
Okay.
heads up in case you see something in the paper.
okay.
Well, if he wants to make a really big donation, we could probably look into it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to, but he did price what it would cost
Oh.
for a fence at the lobster boat.
At the lobster boat.
Interesting, okay.
Doesn't have a
And
fencing company, does he?
doesn't.
Okay, let's,
And just, we are communicating with residents that we can't accept any more book donations. Our
Right.
storage is
Yeah.
full, people are,
It's a nice problem to have here.
it's a nice
To
problem
a
to have. I
point.
mean, Pauline is very concerned about this,
Oh,
yeah.
but, so February, drop off your donations in February.
So come to the book sale.
Yes.
I'm
I
trying
see
to
that
use
the
more
passport
online stuff,
application was
so I don't
submitted.
have books in my
How long
house.
do you think it'll take? Oh, well, given the situation, I guess it might take a while.
Well, the passport offices are open,
They are?
yes,
Oh, good.
yes. So, we wait.
What did I miss?
We submitted the passport
Passport was
application.
asking her how
Right.
long she thought it might be, because they submitted the application. So the library at some point will be a passport, be able
Yes.
to receive passport applications.
Yes, and once, if we're approved, then we start coordinating, advertising it and, you know, what's an estimated date we could start, and I'm in communication with our contact in Portsmouth. So we just,
Great.
she'll hear, she'll let me know, and then we say, okay, great, let's,
We probably have to
Plan it
wait
out.
for the government to open back up for us to get
what?
So at this point, we'll have to wait for the government to open back up before we get approved.
She
'Cause
didn't
it's
say that.
through the federal government, right?
It's open. I mean, I got a phone call from her today, so her
Okay.
office is open.
Okay.
Anything else about
Will
anything
you be
else?
doing renewals as well? Or do you just do renewals by mail, or don't you know?
There's a really long list of what we can and can't do
Oh, okay.
that I haven't committed
Okay.
to memory.
I can understand.
Renewal, I think renewals, the guideline was by mail. Yeah, it was really, but if there was like a unusual, you know, my passport's from when I was a child, it's not, but, you know, and then I have to bring additional paperwork, you know, there's so many, oh, you would not believe, there's so many different variations on what might happen.
And they write them all down.
And they write them all down, and you have to be quizzed on every single one of them, so,
Just
Yep,
curious.
but once we're gonna, we'll follow up on that once we move forward, I'll let you know.
Right, it is 8:30. We have like
Oh,
3
is
things
it-
left.
I'm sorry, I can't see the clock from here.
We done your report?
Okay, anything else on the director's report?
I'm done unless there's any
Well,
questions.
I wanted to just say, I loved the seasonal decor at the main entrance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That
they-
was
it very
fabulous.
nice.
The bicycle.
That's, Joanne and
And-
Jared, I think Jen Stover's
And-
part of
yeah,
that.
yeah, that was
Jen
nice.
Green, I have nothing to do with it.
Oh,
I
outside
just
Well, I
the
just
front
want,
door, you're
yeah,
talking
I
about?
just wanted to express that
think
that
it's-
was really.
It's really,
Yes.
And I've talked
fun.
to,
It was really cute. I did too.
but so that spurred me into another idea, and you tell me where this goes, and it doesn't have to go anywhere tonight. I saw a picture in a magazine of a building that was painted as a garden. It was very nice. It was sort of just cover up. So I was like, could we get someone to put a mural on our shed? What, like a library book? Or,
Oh,
so I'm just throwing that out
an
there
interesting idea.
for whenever.
It is an interesting idea.
well, we did have the exterior, what was it, last year when, I can't think of her name. We worked with a teacher at, NHTI, and they did a garden design for the
Yes.
landscaping, but her recommendation was paint the shed green, because it will disappear.
You're talking about the main building though, not the shed.
No, I'm talking about the shed, and I
Oh,
don't
the
think it
shed.
disappeared. That's why I'm
I thought you were
suggesting
talking about
it.
the building.
But that's, I'm
Well,
just
it's much
throwing
less
that out
noticeable
there.
than it used to be.
But we have talked in the
yeah.
past about having a mural on the building.
Yeah.
There's some library.
Kansas
I was
City,
gonna say,
it's the parking garage of the Kansas City Public Library.
Oh, the one that looks like books, that is
Yeah.
amazing.
that
Yeah,
is so cool.
that is absolutely amazing. I saw that picture.
Well, let's move forward. Anything else with the director's report? No? All done with that? All right. Then let's move on to the internet policy.
We aren't suggesting any changes at this time.
No, I read it and I thought I had it in here.
Do you need it?
I thought I had it downloaded.
I remember this last time we went over it, so
Yeah, that's,
read
I
it.
feel like we were,
2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever
I
it
know it
was.
says 2016, but I was like, really? I thought we
Oh.
just did this.
I don't know. Well, I wouldn't have been here 2016, right?
But
Maybe I've just read it as a patron.
Does anyone have any changes they want to make to the policy?
Nope.
No? That look good to everybody? Okay. Move we accept the internet policy as is.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay. And the one thing that's sort of been hanging around is the process for appointing an alternate to the Board of Trustees, and I hopefully have this finally down.
I printed off an extra.
This is revised from the last time.
Oh, I printed it twice.
Jen,
Oh, all right.
this is a different one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I gave her one.
Okay.
So I don't need.
So basically, this just sort of spells it out, and I had a couple of questions, Yvette, at the bottom that maybe could be answered, that if they're appropriate to put in here. Just as the process for someone who is interested in being an alternate to the library, what the steps are, I think, need to do to apply for that position, which will go up on the website. So, do you have any comments on this, Yvette?
I did have a question. I ran it by Joanne, because she's been around longer when there have been people who filled in, finished terms. And so the question I think that came up is, what's the town council's role? Do the applications go to the town council? I don't know. So I can email Eileen and see what she says about their participation in this, because, you know, the times I've been involved, there was an interview, was, you know, 2 trustees, 2 town councilors, but then
I didn't have to do any of that.
you didn't do that, but you weren't on the ballot. So it was just,
Yeah, you were an alternate, yeah.
Right, but isn't this to be an alternate?
Yeah.
You're asking for
Yes.
people to be
so
potentially
but you were
interviewed or
chair when
whatever.
she was alternate, so I don't
Right.
know what the procedures, what happened.
I saw it in the
This was
newspaper, I
pretty
called
close to
him,
it, yeah.
and I came to a meeting, I don't
Yeah.
remember
We
necessarily.
did have discussion before as to whether it was necessary for the applicant and the town council, somebody from the town council, and the trustees to meet together, one of the trustees to meet together. We did have a conversation about that, and I don't know that we really got that question resolved. So one of the steps might be, is that a necessary step for the town council to interview
Mm-hmm,
a candidate?
mm-hmm.
Um,
Because right now, if you go, I didn't bring it, I thought I had it, but the charter, how the charter is written, and I didn't grab that folder.
Do you mean,
The charter or the RSA?
oh,
Town
do
charter.
you mean this? This is the RSA. This is the RSA.
I mean the charter
The
from the town.
Merrimack, Town of Merrimack Charter.
No, I don't have that one.
Yeah, because there's a statement
Yeah.
about alternates in that as well.
I don't have that with me.
Right, and it just says the town council will appoint.
Right.
Up to 3.
Yeah.
It doesn't say the details of how they find out who these people are.
Right.
So, I don't know how, you know, it's like, how does it happen?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out here.
Right, but I think it might be a good courtesy to, I can email Eileen and say, what do you think? You know, what, because
So-
it's just how the charter is written and then it doesn't say.
I want to say, based on the charter and based on the RSA, it doesn't even really specify that the trustees necessarily had to even be involved. In theory, a town council could appoint alternates without the trustees even having any say, based on the way the wording of the law is.
Right,
Well, that's why we did this, because that wasn't our practice.
Right.
So what is
Right,
our
well,
practice?
What our practice is versus what the actual law
Right,
says.
right. I
Two
think they
different
want,
things.
that we were involved in it because we would have known,
Yeah, I think that
you know,
would be
they would
happier
look
for
to us
everybody.
to
Right.
want this person or not. So we need to have a couple of questions still answered.
yeah, because the law would trump
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah,
Mhm.
You know, the charter repeats what the,
Yeah, the law doesn't specify how the person gets in front of the town council to begin with.
Well, that's what we're trying to get
Yeah,
get
and
to
it
here.
just says
The
they can
law, you
appoint.
can't change
Yeah,
it
but
You can't.
unless you change the law.
Like said though, if some town councilman finds someone who wants to be an alternate, they could just appoint them without even telling us, and they would just show up.
Well,
at
they
the
would
meeting.
have to vote it at a town council meeting.
Yeah, it would
wouldn't
have to
they?
be at the town council
Yeah.
meeting.
But I mean,
It would have been
Still
like
could
if
be
I
done
skipped
without
meeting with
going
you
through
and
us.
just went right to
Went
the
right
town
to them,
council and said,
yeah.
I'd like to be appointed.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
have done that.
Yeah. Well, that's possible.
Well, you have the LBOT recommends candidates to the town council for nomination to the LBOT.
Because that's been the practice.
Right, and that's,
That's what this
The ideal
reflects, what's
Right.
been the
practice.
practice.
Right.
yeah.
Would this be something Eileen would want to review?
Yeah, I think, because she works with the town council, so I can ask her and come back to you,
Okay,
just so,
so that we can
We're-
get this kind of done. Okay,
okay, I will do that.
thank you.
Oh, excuse me.
And then we can get this up on the website, and we'll have it a little bit cleaner for people who are interested in becoming an alternate. And we hope we have some candidates that will step up. Okay.
Oh. Okay, so that's the, I emailed this, but I know Janice wanted a hard copy of the annual report.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
Thank
we
you.
already have this.
You might have, but I just had
Oh, thank you.
copies.
Thank you.
This was nicely written, by the way.
I sent it to department heads to see if they had anything to add, if I missed anything that they noticed. I know Janice, you had sent me a note about adding,
Adding
LBOT
us to
here.
the July 4th event.
Yep. And then the statistics are on the back. You know, some of the information I'm still getting from department heads. New registrations was 559. So those were new cards signed up
Is-
for.
I'm sorry, excuse me, this, it says 2017 to 18. Is this January 1 to January 1?
This is our fiscal year.
This is the fiscal.
The
year.
narrative is the calendar year.
Oh. This is the fiscal year. Okay. Any questions or anything about this document?
I don't know if I sent this to you or not.
What?
I had sent a couple emails to Yvette. We did agree to get the sign, right? The granite sign for
What?
out front.
We voted for it.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's.
But that would be
all.
next year, right? Okay.
This last page cuts off,
Oh.
the very last page, it just says from,
Hmm?
and then there's nothing after it.
Yep, no, it doesn't cut off.
No,
That's
that's-
me needing to go into the file and
Oh,
get all the dates.
okay.
I got some of them, I didn't get all of them, so.
Any other comments about this annual report? Anything anybody want to say?
Very nicely done.
No, I mean, what I wanted to say is written. so
Okay, she's
I have
done.
no
Okay,
comments,
she's-
I'm waiting for
okay.
comments. Oh, and the financial stuff Kristen already has. I just forwarded that straight to you, and
Okay,
she said she would figure out which format works when she puts the whole book together, so
okay. That sounds
I don't
fine.
know. She's gonna pick. I said, great.
So last thing on our agenda, is there, last thing, our trustee goals, basically, we're working on them. We're working on our new evaluation form. Still in works is our orientation manual. Still doing research on an LBOT self-evaluation, which I'm having a little difficulty with. but anyways. And we have met our investment goals for the policies that we have, or the guidelines that we have. We're just ongoing making changes to those as needed. So I think we're on track pretty much.
Could you go back and you went through the first 2 or 3 goals kind of quickly, and I didn't catch them. Besides,
We're in the
before
process
the
of-
self-evaluation.
We're developing
Yeah.
the new evaluation form.
Yeah,
We're in the process of developing the orientation manual.
Yep.
We have completed our investment
right,
committee goals,
Yep.
you know, with the policies, investment policies and the guidelines.
yep.
And
16th.
the one thing I'm still looking into is a LBOT self-evaluation form. Any other questions about anything, about our goals? No? No comments? Okay. Anything else anybody wants to bring up at this point?
This was just because maybe I didn't hear it at the beginning. We're not going to schedule your eval, all that stuff, until we meet next month. That's eval stuff. And then, are we all going to the meeting tomorrow night? Okay,
Oh, no, wait, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night,
right?
Tomorrow night?
is-
No, it's a town budget meeting.
So we,
Yeah, but they can go.
yeah,
You can go if you want
Okay.
to.
I think I went last year. I was just, didn't know if it
yeah.
would be nice to see everybody if they could. But I don't know. So it's not a requirement, is what you're
No,
saying,
it's not
okay.
required for us to be there, but
Yes, Yvette?
I have a couple things. So for, the agenda has been posted for tomorrow's meeting, and it's at 6:30, not 6.
When is the library up?
Huh?
When is the library up?
First.
Yes.
We're up at 6:30. Paul
my
said, you should highlight the maintenance position and the trustee funds, explain that. Those are the 2 main things.
Trustee
Everything
fund
else
and
is
the what?
flat.
The
And
maintenance
the
position.
The maintenance position.
Oh, maintenance.
That's it? So 6:30.
so I might be able to show up
Yeah,
then.
I had 7.
And then after our section is finished, solid waste goes next, we can leave. Okay?
Okay.
I can pass these things
You're on.
around. This paper is where the ad is, if you want to see the ad. And of course, you should see.
Maintenance position and what else?
Saw that at the
mean,
library, yeah.
You read the paper.
Oh,
I
the
missed
additional
it.
trustee. You're gonna be doing that, right?
What?
You're gonna be doing that.
I thought you were gonna do that, just
be
moral
doing that.
support.
Oh, there's our ad.
Oh, I thought you were talking.
I can talk.
Flip a coin.
You're gonna talk.
It's fine.
You'll do better than I will on this.
They added that. It looks great. I think it looks
In
great.
green, it was perfect.
I think it looks
What?
great.
No.
Vote to give you
Oh,
I think we flip a
Well, that's a
coin.
nice little ad.
Yeah, this was really
I think that came out nice.
quite the thing. Yeah, I read this article, it was quite the thing.
Okay, anything else in our calendar is, we have the budget presentation tomorrow
16.
at 6 o'clock, Town Hall.
6:30.
6:30. She just told me that, and I'm reading off the paper. Secret Life of Library Book Series, yay! How the Library Works is what that's about. Begins January 22nd, 7 p.m. at the library. The Merrimack Library Development Fund will be meeting with the Board of Trustees and the Friends on January 29th. The Friends of the Library, the next meeting is January 28th. Anyone interested in participating or coming to a Friends meeting is welcome. The Board of Trustees' next meeting is February 19th here at Town Hall. The Midwinter Book Sale is January 26th and 27th, the last weekend in the month. On the 25th Friday is the pre-sale, which I believe starts at 5:15?
Mhm.
5:15 and lasts till 6:30? 6 or 6:30? The pre-sale?
It should go to 6:30.
6:30, and that is for Friends members only. And that's it. Any comments from the press, public, or board
Actually,
members?
one more
Oh, did I forget
date.
one?
One date, well, one date I wanted to make sure was added to, on the
Oh,
calendar.
sorry.
The sign up, if somebody's interested in running, because my position will be open.
Oh.
February 20th to March 1st is sign up.
February what?
February 20th through March 1st is the people.
They can sign up at town
They
hall.
go
You
to
can
town hall
register
here, yep,
to
and
be
they-
put on the ballot.
You got it. So, because my seat will be open.
Okay, thank you, Rick, for reminding us of that. We hope that some folks will step forward to be elected to fill Rick's position. Of course, we
Hopefully,
will
yeah.
miss him on the board. Why do I have this piece of paper, this here?
It's an article.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
Then the election,
Yeah,
I
that was
think,
so
is
cool.
April
That was really cool.
6th this year.
I was
Um,
very excited to see that.
Okay,
Yeah, we
if
got
there's nothing,
Lots of other libraries are on that
We
front
got some
page. I was very
serious-
glad we were
Yeah,
there.
I saw this.
if there's nothing else, oh, did you want a non-public?
Mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry, we will be, I move we close this meeting in order to go into a non-public.
Do the roll call. Did you want me to make the motion?
Okay,
I'll make the motion to go into non-public per RSA 91-A-3 IIC, A.
a second?
You gotta
Second.
do a roll call.
Roll
I'll
call.
second it.
No,
Oh.
She
roll
seconded.
call.
Oh, yes,
every-
whatever we do
Yes.
say.
Yes.
Janet, yes,
Yes.
okay.